All right, welcome back. I am thirteene, and after playing the Phage Dumpster Fire last week, we're actually going to be revisiting a real deck. Tonight is going to be Deathcloud. So I know Deathcloud is a little bit of a fan favorite for some people who actually play these fun, janky decks similar to 8 Rack and Soul Sisters. This is kind of in the same vein, but the more competitive build of this deck ends up being Jund or Ponza. So we're going to hopefully break this down and have some fun with it. So, first and foremost, the namesake of the deck, Deathcloud. Black, 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 X. Each player loses X life, discards X cards, sacrifices X creatures, and sacrifices X lands. So, this is Smallpox on steroids. I love Smallpox. It's another one of those decks that is just like a fun deck to play on the side, but we're not actually running that. We're hopefully just going to blow opponent out with a massive Deathcloud. So, at its base, we are land destruction, which is why Ponza is pretty much comparable to this. We will be running Mulvaney Acid Moss. I don't even know how to say that word. I know I've heard it, but destroy target land, we go get a forest. And the whole reason we're playing this deck tonight is because we got the new Garruk. Again, another one of those words that I've heard a million different ways. But this is going to be a 6-mana planeswalker that ends up putting out creatures we want destroyed, as well as giving us some card advantage, and just being a solid win condition. So the plan is we're going to ramp into a planeswalker or a threat and destroy all the lands, put opponents so far back on resources that they just can't recover, and that's the plan. So how we ramp. Arbor Elf, Utopia Sprawl, again, kind of like Ponza. We're going to try to get some fast mana. The other Garruk is going to be able to untap our lands to pay for our more expensive planeswalkers, and kind of just making this Garruk tribal. Then we have Kitchen Finks. Notably, Kitchen Finks will die and come back, as well as gain us some life while we get to our more expensive threats. Bitter Blossom will give us a creature every turn if we have to do a small Deathcloud. This gives us a couple of fairies that we can destroy, and then we are rocking 4 Liliana the Veils. The entire game plan of this deck is to tax our opponent's resources. So that's going to be the deck. That's Deathcloud. We have a couple of fun ofs and some just non-conditional removal, but the idea is ramp up to something big, slam a Planeswalker, and lock the opponent out of the game. All right, MTGO had an update, which means none of my windows are going to be the right size. Let's take a look at this hand. This is a turn 2... Oh, that's not a turn 2 Courser. Opponent is actually being friendly. It's been a while since I've had someone actually say something very nice in chat before the game starts. We have 2 draws at a land to get a turn 2 Courser out. And we have a 7-mana Planeswalker. Yeah, we can't keep this. I wanted to be greedy, but I just can't do it. Yeah, this is fine. This is going to be a turn 2 Kitchen Finks into an Acid Moss and then Deathcloud. We can tuck the Field of Ruin. If this is Tron, I'm going to feel bad. Mishra's Bauble. Okay, it's looking like Urza. So Collector Roofs in the sideboard are going to get some action. Opponent looks at themselves, so they have a fetch land. They're determining if they'd like to keep it or not. Ooh, this actually might be Grixis Death Shadow. And a Thoughtseize. Inquisition. Alright, there goes Mana Ramp. Mulliganing on 1 was rough, but Inquisition would have taken Utopia Sprawl out of our 7, and we would have had a single land and a bunch of very expensive cards. Took the Kitchen Finks? Okay. Seraphix, you know I want to be greedy, though. Seeing as how we have a basic, or we have... whatever. Words we're going to say Utopia Sprawl is going on the basic. And then I'm actually going to hit green here so that we can Acid Moss and go get a Utopia, or get a Overgrown Tomb. Were you not around last Wednesday when I played Phage? Is there anything I do that isn't high risk? I mean, for a little while there, I was literally literally running 4 Charging Badgers in a deck. We try to have fun here. That doesn't mean we keep insane 7s. Sometimes I guess we do, but still. Not what you want to be doing in life. You're good, Seraphics. Okay, so this looks like... I mean, it's Jun Shadow with Traverse. That red and 6 is going to make life difficult. It's technically a card. So before they get much more value off of this, I'm going to do this during their upkeep. We're going to have to Assassin's Trophy the red and 6. This means we're likely dealing with a Bloodbraid. Opponent knows our hand. Actually, I don't think Jun Death Shadow plays Bloodbraid. To be honest, I haven't seen much of this archetype lately. Alright, that's a Lily of the Veil. I'm going to get rid of Deathcloud since we don't have the double black for it. I mean, I guess this could just be Junt. The only reason I'm thinking Death Shadow is because of the bauble. But they don't do Become Immense anymore, so... Tasker. Alright, this looks like it's just Jun Traverse. Well, they want a Tassiger. They're trying to figure out what to leave. They don't have Snapcaster Mage. They do have Goyf, so I'm expecting the Planeswalker and the Artifact at the very least to stick around. And they left an Abrupt Decay. Makes sense. We have a bunch of random stuff in our yard to help them, so that's fair. And they're okay to rebuy any of these. Well, that's not what you want to see. Looks like we may have just been Junded out here. They were able to stop our mana ramp, and we just didn't see the right cards. Ooh, Once Upon a Time. That's a little spicy. Finds a Grimflayer. I'm expecting this to be the Grimflayer, which means I can Field of Ruin, Fatal Push it, get a second green, but still a couple of turns away from Garrick with not a whole lot of direction I can go in, so not amazingly happy with the way this is going. Fails to find a basic land. Okay. They already know we're Deathcloud, so it shouldn't surprise them to see any of the expensive Garricks in our hand. Yep, we're going to take our beats for 4. I'm going to try to set up for taking them off of red because it's their only red source. I'm going to try to set up for Acid Moss, and then hopefully have one of like our 5-drops come out and try to save us, but... Yeah, whatever. We're good. I didn't Fatal Push it in step, and that's not a card that's going to get us anywhere. We're still looking at least 4 on the table, and then an ulting Liliana before we can actually deal any damage to her. So, Veil of Summer comes in for the black cards. We get Hexproof as well as being just a 1-mana Cryptic command. Last Hope doesn't really answer too much. They're clearly not on Bob since they're on Ren and 6. Scavenging Ooze can kind of control the yard. Collector Oof, when I thought it was Urza was going to be good, but just to stop a Mishra's Bauble doesn't feel very relevant. As far as trim/cuts, we're looking for value here. So Maelstrom Pulse being a 2-for-1 is probably fine. Ewhip being a 2-for-1 is fine. Dismember can actually kill Tassiger, and they might be on Gurmag Angler. There's not a lot I want to trim. Like, so many of these are 2-for-1s. Like, we were built for this matchup. Bitter Blossom might actually be a little bad just because it'll deal damage to us and can be answered by any of their Abrupt Decays, which are converted mana cost 3 or less. Maelstrom Pulse actually hits their Planeswalkers. Courser might be a little bit on the weak side. Then, I want the land destruction. Maybe just a 7 mana Garruk. We'll run like this. We should be fairly well set up for these type of matches. Well, this hand is basically discard proof. That doesn't mean it's good. Because it is a discard matchup, I'm actually going to keep this. They'll get rid of our Maelstrom Pulse, but then we should be on top decking gas at that point. Then it's minimal thinning, but because we have 5 cards in hand, I am actually going to fetch for a basic first. Using the Windswept Heath because it's off color. And then I'm going to do this guy on black in case we find a Deathcloud. We're going to need triple black for Deathcloud, so I'll have to start making mana considerations for that. Expecting this turn to be discard Maelstrom Pulse. After Once Upon a Time. I actually just looked at this extended art foil. It's basically $70. That made me very sad. Huh. Okay. Well, we'll go to the tap land and ship it back. Our hand was terrible. Like, so bad. Looking at that hand, I die a little inside, but we should find something good. I mean, at a certain point, I have to stop top decking lands, right? Like, it's statistically impossible to draw nothing but lands. I mean, that's fine. Fatal Push. So they can technically slam a Tasigur next turn, so I'm going to leave the Verdant Catacombs up to be able to crack to hit Revolt. I know Fatal Push can't hit Tasigur, but any of the Delve threats might come down. We shouldn't see anything for 4, but I'm just thinking mana cost reduction. Okay. That's a sad brutality. I honestly don't have much to comment, like, just in such a horrible position at the moment. Revolt isn't a consideration anymore, but triple black is, so let's go ahead and grab an Overgrown Tomb. And that is a Lily of the Veil. Okay, that's a start. I like that card. Opponent's probably on Bolt, although we haven't seen one yet. So I have triple black available and quadruple green. I guess we'll figure out if opponent actually has a Bloodbraid or not. I assume they have to have 1 to get a hasty threat with Traverse, but they shouldn't be able to Traverse and hit a Bloodbraid, so they have to have it in hand. Well, it's a 4-drop. Yep, they got it. I guess that's technically a redraw. I mean, it's not going to feel great to pulse a Bloodbraid Elf, but that's the position we got put in. Opponent targeted us. I'm going to crack my fetch just because it's less knowledge for the opponent. Then they draw a card. We're a black deck. It's weird that they do that unless they want to try to protect the card in hand. But Veil of Summer's pretty good. It's basically... I shouldn't have ran out that land. I needed to discard that to Liliana. But we do have 6 and 7 drops, although 7 drops in the sideboard. So we do have 6 drops. I have to hit my land drops. Let's just not do anything with Lily this turn. Protect ourselves from discard, protect ourselves from basically everything but lightning bolt in their deck. Plus here does mean that I don't have a sack in case opponent's on Tasker. K command. So let's go ahead and make ourselves and our permanents colorless. So turn that 2-for-1 into a 3-for-1. Veil of Summer is such a good card. It's a 1 CMC cryptic command. Yeah, that felt pretty good. So we get land destruction. Opponent actually has a lot of land set up. I'm expecting them to have at least one scavenging ooze, so I'm probably going to go after a green land here. Grim Flayer. So love a Fatal Push. Or a Deathcloud. That works. So I actually only want to do this for 1 at the moment, I believe. I can only do it for 2. Empty their hand, clear the board. Hit it for 1, make them discard with Lily. I mean, either way, I'm discarding my Acid Moss, so I guess may as well just do it for 2. They're lower on life than us. All right. Deathcloud! Unfortunately, we don't have any permanent mana ramp out, so we're going to try to ride this Liliana to victory. It's not impossible, but... Yeah, discard a card. See what opponent's squatting on. A Traverse and a Grim Flayer. Yeah, sack 2 creatures. Sack 2 lands. I kind of want to keep a basic forest around. Opponent shouldn't be on Blood Moon. That's actually a good point, Serafix. They have each of their singletons a double. They have one of their lands. Whatever. They're not going to Blood Moon us. We'll get rid of the basics. I think the card I want to see least is Wrenn and 6. Yeah, I don't want to see a Wrenn and 6. Land is fine. I like land. Alright, so we're going to set our Lily up. Definitely get a Field of Ruin. They should at least have a forest and possibly a mountain. Yep, there's the forest. Alright, they have their own Lily. And they're gonna barely win. Let's hit... Double black feels mildly relevant, but they already have their Liliana out, so may as well hit the black-green source in case they find a Scavenging Ooze. We'll see if they have their basic mountain or not. I don't believe they showed us game 1, but... Okay, Strip Mine activated. And that's a terrible 7-drop. Well, opponent's going to make us discard it anyways, so... Or 6-drop, I guess, is more technically accurate. Alright, Inquisition of Kozilek. That's why you typically board it out in the mirror, but I guess we're not technically the mirror. I can Deathcloud for 1, put them down to 2 lands. Yeah, I think that's technically correct. That shuts off any of their 3-drops. This also shuts off the top of our deck, but that's fine. I assume they're going to sack their forest, so they leave their colors. The Lily Ultimate looks so sad on both sides of the table. Once upon a time. Well, we're just going to make them discard anything but a land. And odds are their fetches won't find them anything. They Found a Blood Braid. That's going to get discarded. Arbor Elf! This is actually so relevant at the moment. Because they might actually need us to Edict. And then it can attack Liliana. Well, Arbor Elf that could. Grimflayer and Goyf are both super bad out of our opponent's side. Alright. So I get my Lily or my board. Interesting. I don't know, Seraphix, what are you thinking? I think I keep the lands. Because the lands will let me cast a lot of stuff off the top, including keep not Lily, so choose a pile to sacrifice. Yeah, I can actually win this game with permanence, and I can't win it with Lily. Hey, I'm Deathcloud. The intent here was not to have any lands and win the game, but I don't think an Arbor Elf is going to go the distance here. All right. Hey, look at that. That's a real card. That is a Planeswalker, and that puts a 2-turn clock into play. Go, little Garrick! I'm proud of you. This also means I can... Oh, no! The 6 mana's already dead! I think. Yeah, 6 mana's already dead. Oddly enough, the 4/4 body is relevant here. No, it's not. And they don't have any lands to go get. Amazing. Alright, we did take a game, and we kept a 5-lander on top of that. I actually do want these coursers. I think the coursers are probably more relevant than the kitchen finks at this point. Just because they grind so well and they don't add a lightning bolt or assassin's trophy. We did need all of that mana. We cast 2 Deathclouds. 2 small Deathclouds, but 2 Deathclouds. I mean, Deathcloud making them sack 2 creatures, or the Grimflayer at least, was pretty good. I want to keep this just because it's 7 versus the discard deck, but it is worth noting opponent's going to lead on turn 1 discard and take our Veil of Summer, and then we're going to have nothing to do. I'm just hoping they don't have a turn 2 Grimflayer to back it up with, because going down doesn't make any sense, and our mulligans have been awful towards us. Yep. If only we were on the play, we could dodge the Inquisition. Opponent gets to take a look at our hand. They have to take Veil of Summer, but then that leaves us open for more discard or opponent just clocking us. I think they're a little less inclined to try to clock us with Deathcloud in hand, but they took the Courser. That don't seem right. I guess this means I have to take a shock, but that's fine. 100% leaving up the Veil of Summer. I am expecting them to have a creature since they took our Courser, but 1 mana Cryptic Command needs to stay up. Hi, Mr. Goyf. You are a real clock. I also haven't seen you yet. I thought you were only on Grimflayers. Oh, that's rough. Alright, doing a lot of damage to myself. Utopia, Sprawl. Didn't see any Field of Ruins out of them, and I don't have a basic. So we're going to put this on black. So if I put it on green, I'm still not going to be able to hold up Veil of Summer for next turn, but black lets me... Actually, so we're not going to run out the Arbor Elf because we're going to intend on Deathclouding next turn. So we can leave up Veil of Summer to protect the Deathcloud, and then we'll end up just clearing the Termagoyf with the Deathcloud. That seems like the safest thing that I can do. Okay, they're going to traverse for one of their basic lands. Seems weird to be running traverse with only 2 basic lands, but I'm not going to judge. Alright, Deathcloud for 1, discard a land. Pretty much my only play here. The Field of Ruin feels pretty valuable. I can run out the tap land next turn unless I top deck something. Just because I can get their last basic out of their deck, and then all my Assassin's trophies are fine. Although I need the double green for Veil of Summer and Arbor Elf next turn, so I guess Field of Ruin's going away. The good old 4-mana kill target Termagoyf and a couple of random side effects. Ooh, was kind of expecting a Lily there. That feels pretty good for us. And we found a Scooze. So I'm going to intend on start eating things with that. If I don't have to hold up Veil of Summer. Shocking ourselves 3 times this game has been absolutely a terrible experience, but you gotta do what you gotta do. This feels like a K command, which is weird because they know we have the Veil of Summer in hand from the turn 1 Inquisition. Alright, that's a Bloodbraid. And that's a Traverse. %100% taking 3 damage here. Scooze is going to grow to be bigger than the Bloodbraid in a turn or 2, so... Yeah, if you put a lot of meaningless 0 drops in your deck, it is going to be a terrible, terrible experience Bloodbraid elfing. Like that, I think that even meant they failed to find. No, they found a forest. All this mana and absolutely nothing to do with it. Alright, so I have a free green here. I'm just going to eat their... I have 2 lands. They have 3 sorceries, 4 sorceries. So their lands are going to be more relevant before too long. I need to leave a green up, so I may as well untap now. Then we can eat the other land. No, we're going to eat Courser before opponent can interact with us. I'm dead in 3 turns because there's nothing to eat. I'm going to be chump blocking. Alright, Scooze is getting in. I'm really surprised I haven't seen any Death Shadows out of them. Like, I'd expect Death Shadow over Bloodbraid Elf with this build. Okay. Also seems weird that they're trying to draw during my turn. Because I technically have Lilianas and discards and all kinds of fun things, but having that extra card in hand might be more information. Doing it post-combat, I'm honestly not a fan of much of that. Okay, so they could have Fatal Push. I'm waiting on the eating. Overgrown Tomb. That is so sad. Scooze gets to control their graveyard, so Grimflayer is only going to get in for 2. I don't really want them stacking their deck, but I'm clocking opponent, so this is actually representing over half their lives, so Scavenging Ooze just has to get in. Let's go ahead and eat my Arbor Elf. Ship it back over to opponent, and then They won't have Delirium, but they're going to have to stay on defense, so... Alright, another Bloodbraid Elf. Found Liliana. Alright, if they forget about this Veil of Summer, then I get to Fog the Edict. If they plus, I can cycle this. That doesn't really accomplish a whole lot, though. Yeah, I suppose that's fine. I'm actually... Nope. I should have blocked, because it looked like they were trying to Edict my Scoos, and Veil of Summer would have been live there. Now plus is just bad for me. They gotta stack their deck a little bit. They put 3 bad cards down. Alright, I'm gonna cycle. Yeah, that's fine. Opponent discards Once Upon a Time. Like, do you even want to hit Once Upon a Time with Bloodbraid Elf? Like, that doesn't feel like you're winning. Okay, so first things first, go for the artifact. Then I'm already hexproof, so we're just going to go ahead and eat something else. Let's eat the... They have the Wooded Foothill, so it's better to go after sorceries at this point. And that is a Courser. I like Courser. That's not as good of a hit. So I think we're playing defense. If I attack in with the Scoos, I trade it for the 2 Bloodbraid Elves, which doesn't accomplish a whole lot. If I attack in with just Arbor Elf, I get to eat the Arbor Elf, but then Lily's Edict gets better. Yeah, let's just play defense. Opponent can't get in with anything here, and I get to eat 3 things out of their yard, so it's going to be really hard to turn that Grimflare into a 4/4. I'm also going to net a lot of card advantage off the top, and this Garruk is going to create a couple of creatures and slash win the game. If I plus once and then overrun, we've got it. Yeah, opponent's only got 2 card types. Kind of far off Delirium. This Lily is kind of bad news, but I have some solid-sized creatures. It's going to take a pretty good... Yep, that's pretty good. So I don't get to gain any life here. I do go get a land. That's going to shuffle away my Garruk. Would I prefer to draw this? I have 7 mana available. I have better top decks. Show me Deathcloud! Yeah, that's fine. By Arbor Elf. Wow. Alright. Take it back. Just got owned. So that's lethal. 10 damage. We're at 9. Well played, opponent. Top deck some pretty good cards there, but well played. Alright, so we are on Deathcloud, playing with the new Garruk from Eldraine. Basically, fairly stock build, just a couple of creatures that are resilient through a Deathcloud. Deathcloud is just a powerful version of Smallpox. Each player is going to lose life, discard cards, sack creatures, and sack lands. Hopefully we're going to have a Planeswalker or something like a Kitchen Finks / Bitter Blossom out so that we can actually come back after we blow away the entire board. But just played against Jund Traverse, and pretty good game. Opponent had some really powerful top decks at the end and had some fun with it, but waiting for the next match to queue up, essentially just trying to destroy some lands tonight. Overall, not a lot to comment on the last match, but hopefully we'll do a little bit better in this guy. Wow, our deck has been so mean to us with the mulligans. Okay, this is a little bit better. Gonna tuck one of the additional lands, although I should have done a Windswept Heath just because I could get a basic swamp off the other one. And it's Tron. Alright. So I have land destruction main board, which is nice, but because opponent's on the play, we're not going to get much further than that. I'd need to do black as soon as possible so that I can Deathcloud, assuming I top deck it. Deathcloud away, Tron lands is going to be pretty nice. Okay, Ghost Quarter. That's typically a tutor target with the Expedition map. Yeah, opponent, you can Ghost Quarter us, and it'll set me back a little bit, but we technically have a million basics, so not overly concerned with that one. Ah, we even have the Field of Ruin on top. Opponent's likely going to Ghost Quarter us at this point, just so that we have to shuffle away the Field of Ruin. But we should be fine. This means that we get to Acid Moss, and if we don't actually go tutor something, we can Field of Ruin the following turn, so we're going to keep them back a bit. This is Eldrazi Tron, and they don't have Chalice. Slightly interesting. That's a Dismember I don't really care about, so going to Field of Ruin the Eldrazi Temple during their draw step. Actually, no, I'm just going to Acid Moss. That feels better. They don't get a replacement. We do. We get to shuffle away the bad card. That can't come in untapped, and it's not like I actually want to do anything with it. And Courser's going to get in the red zone. Yeah, they recognize they need the 3/2 body, so... Alright, or they want to race? Mildly interesting decision, but it's all yours, opponent. They have Chalice and Expedition map. Okay. Which one did they play last? It was the tower last, so let's hit the tower. I'm still really confused on why they haven't activated Ghost Quarter, or at least not of 6 through it. Play the land off the top, just pseudo card advantage, and then that's basically how we're going to win this game. Oops, Utopia Sprawl. Oh well, doesn't matter, can't do anything else. Let's Lily of the Vel. We can plus, get rid of an additional land. Then we are going to defend Lily, because we can ride her to victory. But opponent's going to need to Eldrazi Temple Reality Smasher to even kind of stay in this at this point. No, that's not going to do it. They need... I think we just locked it up. I'm trying to think of an out for them, but it involves something that costs well more than 5 mana. Yep, Karn's likely not going to do it. They will have an active Karn with no lands, though. That's a pretty decent top deck. Alright, I am planning on Deathclouding, so I'm going to hit Karn down, because Matter Reshaper's trigger, I'd prefer that they block with it now. Yep, makes sense. So they're either going to put an additional permanent on the battlefield, or draw a card, but we get to Deathcloud for a lot. So that's going to be 4. That clears all their lands away. We get to keep our Utopia Sprawl. Sack the Courser, sack a couple of lands. Plus Lily, and kind of in an okay spot. Like, this Karn did bump things, but they didn't even activate Karn. Okay. I almost did in Deathcloud just so I could play him. What can you do? Yep, Expedition Map gets to get in. Oh, that's a draw. Let's go ahead and hit that. Then we have Lily to save the day. They're so close to assembling Tron. They just need to rip one more land. Oh, I think I have to let that ride for a turn. Yep, not doing anything with Lily. Acid Moss is a pretty solid top deck when they're trying to expedition map things. Oh, they want to go about it that way? Land. I suppose that works. Alright, let's target you. Okay, you get Blast Zone. They got an Eldrazi Temple. So I'm thinking 2 lands versus Chalice, although I really don't care about their Chalice, so let's set it up like that. So they have an Eldrazi Temple and an Unknown in hand. Alright, well, on the off chance that that's a Thought Knot Seer, I have to discard. Alright, well, suppose that was a mistake. Liliana could have just stuck around. And Utopia Sprawl. Alright. Get rid of their last card. Them sacking Blast Zone to get rid of Lily feels bad, but it's still taking a land away. I can't even Deathcloud here. Alright. Had a Karn. Kind of glad the card's gone. Then they need to pop this before I get priority, or I'm just ulting Lily. Okay. That's fine. So I, Garrett, create a token. They're going to sack the Blast Zone, get rid of Lily. Or I give them Blast Zone and Matter Reshaper. Alright. Logic here is they're going to have to sack a land if they want to keep their permanent. Opponent found a Chalice of the Void. They can put it into hand or 0-drop it, but we're going to have a 3/3 token and also be able to make all of our expensive drops. Every single one of them. Chalice on 1. Honestly, doesn't stop a lot out of our deck. But just getting a real clock out there, we're going to be able to close this out in 2 turns. All right. That gives us mana for Deathcloud without taking a shock. We're not going to be able to do anything without Arbor Elf with Chalice out, but likely closing out this game here anyway. Alright, opponent, can you handle our beasts? You found a Matter Reshaper. Bitter Blossom. I don't actually think I want to show them the Bitter Blossom. Yep, makes sense. And then I'm going to make a Beast token. They found a Smasher. Beast token means they have to have 2 blockers to survive. Or if they find a Spatial Contortion. They get to see our Bitter Blossom. Oh, well, that's game. They can't survive. They did that for knowledge, and I fully respect that. All right. So Collector Roof is going to turn off all their artifacts. I need to keep some number of Fatal Pushes, but with the Chalices, I need to trim some number of 1-drops. Surgical Extraction doesn't really do much. The only combo card that they have is Karn, and Karn can pull from exile, so Surgical doesn't even really work there. Scavenging Ooze could be a consideration, just to eat some of the creatures that end up dying. Lily can't shrink their stuff to kill them. Kalitas is... he's a value card. We have to figure out what we're trimming, though. Like, the lifelink doesn't matter a whole lot. He doesn't actually block a Thought-Knot Seer, but he is a solid creature, and we can grow him, so I'm willing to consider him. Our 7-drops are probably going to be fine here. Damnation can clean up a lot of the board. I love all the land destruction. Dismember is going to be our creature removal of choice. It might actually just be the Fatal Pushes. I'd prefer to ramp fast, and we should be able to drop at least one of these on turn 1. Kitchen Finks is another consideration, but it blocks twice. Yeah, I think it's just the Fatal Pushes. They didn't show us any Eldrazi Mimics, so it would have to be a Revolted push on a Thought-Knot Seer while they don't have Chalice out, and that feels so fringe, I'm okay to trim him. Alright, show me a good hand for once. It doesn't require a ton of mulliganing. Oh, thank you. I'm so bad at the record. Okay, we did lose to Jund, and we are currently up a game versus Eldrazi Tron. Yeah, Bradwan actually stopped running his record. Like, I had to go and create an overlay tool for him that didn't have a record just because he never updated it, and he didn't even want to bother trying to do it. I go to sideboarding, and I'm just like, hey, okay, we're sideboarding. People have seen this, but I understand the importance of it. I just don't ever seem to pull it off. I understand when you put 6 and 7 drops in your hand, they're going to be in your deck. They're going to be in your hand, but look at that curve. Like, really? I have no land destruction, and it's basically a 6-card hand. All right, you chalice me on 1, and I'm going to curl up in a little ball and die inside. I am expecting a Chalice on 1, so I don't think I want this other Arbor Elf, although if they Chalice on 1, I can just Assassin's Trophy it. I guess that means Bitter Blossom's going away. I mean, again, though, we're keeping a frickin' 1-lander. Expecting a Chalice, so I'm going to run out Arbor Elf here. If they have removal, it's likely going to be Dismember or Spatial Contortion. Oh, they're just going for Tron. Ah. That is a sad panda right there. I think the plan is still Arbor Elf, so if I top deck a land, I can Acid Moss. Ah. Darn you, Walking Ballista. This looks like it might be a Thought-Knot. Hi, Thought-Knot. I have to imagine they're taking Utopia Sprawl since we missed a land drop. But that means I get an Assassin's Trophy and get another draw at a real land. I mean, this hand actually has some nice things in it. I could see an argument for a lot of cards here. In all honesty, though, like, they would have ran out Tron if they had Tron, so I guess that's not a consideration. That kind of is a consideration. So this is going to cost me 4 life, but it's going to leave me 1 mana up. Yeah, that doesn't matter yet. That is relevant, it just doesn't matter yet. So let's go ahead and try to get a land drop here. That's not a land. Serifix, what does that actually open up? So I would assume that if we dismember, we would have 1 mana up. We draw a land, we have 2 mana for Assassin's Trophy. Acid Moss is still a ways away. Darn you, Sorcerer Spyglass! That's fair. But I honestly don't think we're coming back at this point. I have 1 mana available, and when I get 1 mana, I have to Assassin's Trophy the Spyglass. Opponent doesn't really have any action, so we're not going to concede, but we are very far away from winning this game. Opponent has 3 Eldrazi Temples. Oh, and look at that, they have a Karn. Oh my gosh, what a Karn. They went for liquid metal coating, they destroy our land, and I absolutely hate this card. I'm so glad Phoenix is out of the format. Like, I still think I hate Phoenix more than what's going on there, but yeah, this card is nothing but unfun. I think we're just resubmitting. With card, Nature's Claim could be a consideration, but we're going to be on the play, and we should just be faster than them. I do agree with you, though, Serifix. Giving them their land is weak when we're on the land destruction plan, and it also doesn't make much sense to use our unconditional removal when we have something that can target a single creature. Like, really, deck? Be cool. Be cool, bud. Okay, this is fine. I suppose my line, I was looking at it like I could Assassin's Trophy, then they followed up with another Thought Knot I could dismember, but I knew there's a Thought Knot on the table, so that was just flawed logic. I'm tucking a Utopia Sprawl because odds are I'm just going to Courser on 2. And I'm going to go on black. I have to keep in the back of my mind that I have multiple Deathclouds in my deck, so I'm going to take the shock for Courser and just name black with this Utopia Sprawl. Alright, there's a Dismember. Ewit's fine. That's going to actually pick up our Acid Moss. Oh, opponent, you ran out the Eldrazi Temple. I'm waiting with this Windswept Heath. Oh, I guess I can't. I was going to say I wanted to shuffle with the Acid Moss first, but that's not really something I can do. Taking the Overgrown Tomb. Let's get rid of the Eldrazi Temple. I was coughing and dying, but that's sad. Okay, well, Ewit, pick up Acid Moss, we get another shot at it. Although opponent knows we drew the Ewit and they have Thought Knot mana here. Okay, I guess that means that we are on Ewit. Oh boy, I don't know about this. Ewhip pick up the Acid Moss is exposing us to a decent amount of stuff, but it's our best card here, so may as well go for it. We gotta leave up the 1 mana for Dismember. Oh yeah, we still have a very playable hand. I think the reason this deck works is because it is a land destruction plan with some really good value cards in it. Like, I'm happy to see Dismember, Kitchen Finks, Liliana the Vel, Ewit, and Courser any given day, and sometimes Acid Moss just wins the game for you on the spot. Alright, you have Tron. Do you have Karn? You can't really Karn and whatever it's called. Okay, I'm taking 5 like a champ. If I Dismember it, I'm paying 4 life anyway, and I'm about to top deck a Liliana that's likely going to be more powerful. Walking Ballista for 2. Okay, I am going to Dismember here. The Dismember is going to open up the Lily to be hard removal. With 3 cards in hand, I don't know if I should be Acid Mossing or not, though. Let's see what's on top of our library. Arbor Elf. Acid Moss, shuffle, go get a single land, can't do anything with it. I'll gain a little bit of life. Then another Walking Ballista is lethal. Alternatively, just kill the Reality Smasher. Opponent only has 8 mana. They shouldn't be able to win the game. And I have a Courser and Liliana on the table. I think that means Lily. Edict you. Then, yeah, we'll get in. You have to have Reality Smasher and Walking Ballista to be lethal. Ghost Quarter. That does shut down my mana a little bit. Also shuffles my deck for me, though. You seriously have another one? For shame, opponent. You're not supposed to be that lucky. Assume they have to go for me? Yep. They're thinking about it. So I'm getting the read that the cards in hand can't win the game. That's why they're considering hitting the Liliana. And that's a card. Plus no target. So they don't care about the card in their hand. Oh my gosh. Can I just catch a break with the top of my deck? I have not seen a single land. We're 13 cards in. We have all the cards, all the lands from our opening hand in them. Opponent's considering Ghost Quartering us. They did want us to draw the Arbor Elf, and now they're trying to figure out if it's worth shutting off our mana. They know about the Acid Moss. I don't think they know about the Kitchen Finks. All right, opponent. I'm in my draw step. You have one action that you can take. If I don't do anything, opponent just slams Mycosynth Lattice and they're ahead on board and table. Or they're ahead on board and I can't do anything. If I Acid Moss... Yeah, they probably punted. If I Acid Moss, though, I'll gain 1 life. I can go get a Forest and run out Arbor Elf. Actually, is this tapped? Yeah, that's tapped. So I would gain 1 life. If I can block with Courser, I'm fine. They won't have enough mana to Acid Moss unless they top deck exactly that Tron land. I can run out Kitchen Finks and double block the Reality Smasher, but then they just Mycosynth Lattice and kill me. I would gain 2 life and would be able to block 3, so I would actually stay alive with Kitchen Fink's Arbor Elf, but then I'd be plussing discarding the Acid Moss. I think my line here is I have to destroy whatever the last Tron land they played was, which I think was the Mine. I'm reading through. Yeah, Mine was the last one that they played. So I gain a life, I throw away the Courser, I'll be able to Edict them with Liliana, and then they have a couple of turns before they can kill me with Karn. They will go get Mycosynth Lattice and can destroy my Force, though. I don't think I recover from that. Whereas hitting Karn for 2 and running out these 2 doesn't really do a whole lot. I'm still just going to get Lattice Lock, so I think I have to Acid Moss and hope to find a land off the top. Either way, I think we're behind. And by I think we're behind, I mean we're really far behind, but we're going to try it. Then this plus is going to discard the Arbor Elf. Hopefully find a land off the top. Preferably a fetch land so we can control the top of our deck. Like, either way, Karn's just going to minus and go get Liquid Metal Coating. We'll have 3 mana available, which means I get to play the Finks. And this is all counting on them not top decking anything, so not a fantastic place to be. Deathcloud is a dead draw now because we'd actually just kill ourselves. Karn, you are unfun. I dislike what you do to games of Magic. We're trying to interact and you're just saying we're going to win the game. Alright, well I think opponent stepped away for a second. Ghost Quarter can make us shuffle, so we don't even have a good top deck off the top. We're just so far behind. We basically need to hit runner, runner, have opponent hit nothing, and still make a comeback. This is one of those moments where I'm like, it's just a tilt stop. We're so far behind, they're just gonna make us wait it out. We did tank for a bit on our turn, though, so whatever. Opponent gets to do opponent things. Okay. Yep, that was actually a winning line, too. So they counter our Acid Moss, so we don't get to go tutor. Then they just swing in for 5, and we can't get around it. Well done, opponent. That was a great line I did not see. Updating the record to show our Incarnate Sadness going 0-2. Yeah, I missed it too. Honestly, like, huge props to opponent there. They found a fantastic line. But I just want to cast New Garrick. I go into a lot of these decks with very low hopes and dreams, and the hopes and dreams tonight were cast New Garrick. Yeah, I mean, we were just so far behind there because they could... If we had a draw that cost more than 3 mana that could help us there, they could just Ghost Quarter and force us to shuffle. If we... this all also counted on opponent not tutoring Walking Ballista and just shooting us out of the yard. We are just so dead there. I think we have to keep this and just hope that opponent's not on Ghost Quarter. Because we get to start off with Arbor Elf and then hopefully top deck a basic Forest and then have 4 mana available for Garrick on tap and then be able to Lily on turn 3. This goes so well, so easily. We're going to gamble on this guy. Yeah, it probably should have just been a concession there. I try to concede when I die, and that felt like a moment where I was dead. Look at that. We even got the basic Forest. I want to look like Ponza. We're going to lead on the basic. I don't want to tell them that we're black yet. Shivan Reef. This looks like Storm. Yeah, that Warping Well did magic for them. Okay, so Echoing Truth basically confirms Storm. I'm going to Utopia Sprawl, put it on green, Arbor Elf. Yeah, I mean, that's my best line here. Although we have the Deathcloud in hand, this needs to go on black. It's up, opponent, we're black. Oh, thank you. Sorry. Thank you for that. Okay, well, opponent didn't force Utopia Sprawl, which kind of makes sense, but... Oh, this is Twiddlestorm. This is Twiddlestorm! We gonna do it! Okay, so 4 mana, and then I need 4 mana at the end of it. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if I can Garrick and then kill their land. So I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think that means I can. So this is the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 4, leaving 5 left over, so I can do it for 2. I only need to do it for 1. Float the black. Nope, nope, not what I wanted to do. Turn off auto yields. Cancel. Don't double click this time. Black. Untap 2 target lands. We got these 2. If I do it for 1, I lose my Arbor Elf and I discard a land. I don't think I want to do it for 2. I think I'm far enough ahead. I just want to do it for 1. Because they already put us really far ahead. I have 4, 5, 6, 7. So I can cast Garrick. Oh, they're done. Alright, that's fair. That's completely fair. Surgical Extraction, as they are a combo deck. Veil of Summer can make us hexproof from blue and stop Echoing Truth. I don't like that. This is Cryptic Command, but I don't think we actually want to Cryptic Command Twiddlestorm. Liliana doesn't do much. Goose does a little bit if they end up bringing in their Past in Flames, which they don't do a lot, but sometimes they do board it in. Dismember, Fatal Push are all bad. Damnation's horrible. And we're probably running like that. I need to take off my headset for 1 second. The dog's freaking out. I think he wants to go get his water. I will be back in 30 seconds. Man, that was the nuttiest draw that we've had yet, and the opponent just scooped it up. I don't have green here, so I can't keep this hand. This is fine. I mean, this is actually exactly what we want to be doing, so this is fine. I'm going to tuck back the basic forest. This is going to get Overgrown Tomb. I don't believe so. They have Kiki Jiki in the side. This is a janky build. 3 Past in Flames, 2 empties in the side. I'm tucking back basic forest. I need the 3 black before I need the double green, so... Although I guess the logic there should have been Ewit can pick up Verdant. Single land. Alright, their hand must be insanely gassy. Likely going to Lily on 3 because Ewit pick up land isn't very valuable, and the Deathcloud will make us sack the Ewit. Wow. Okay, so they might have just kept this hand because they have a Force of Negation. That's at least the read I'm getting at the moment. Urborg. I forgot we put you in this deck. Discarding the swamp here, especially when they're on one land, this just feels like we're winning too hard. Pact of Negation. Yeah, you're going to lose the game if you cast that. I understand why you brought it in. Arbor Elf. Deathcloud for 1 isn't as good as it was, but I still think it's my line. Just because they were behind on land, so this is going to at least be Stone Rain. And then next turn we can Ewit pick up a land. Arbor Elf isn't going to do anything when I'm probably going to Deathcloud multiple times. They did bring in the Kiki Jiki. Okay. Whew. I don't think Lily's ultimate's going to win here, and I do want to Ewit for a land because we're ahead at the moment. So if we top deck a land, we can Deathcloud for 1. If we don't, then we can just Ewit. That's a Scoos. I'm a fan of Ewit. Pick up a land. And let's get the Verdant back. My life total doesn't really matter here. They either go off or they don't. I don't think plussing Lily's actually that productive for me. Alright, there's Lotus Field. They're going to untap it and try to kill me. I guess this is their opportunity to go for it. They could technically just leave up interaction here, which it looks like that's the plan. Courser. So they weren't able to kill me last turn. I think this is when Lily needs to start going back up again. And alternatively, I just Deathcloud for 1, make them use their interaction, and then make them plus, and then plus Lily. That'll get at least 2 cards out of their hand. Alright, whatever. We're here, and we can destroy Lotus Field. We're going to go for it. Yep, they conceded. Alright. So apparently destroy target hexproof land is our good matchup. Like, really good matchup. I don't have comments for that one. Sack land is very powerful, and Lotus Field was kind of cute. Alright, good hand. Please and thank you. This is so fair, it's disgusting. I think I want ramp. Like, this is a moderately playable hand with a turn 2 Bitter Blossom, but turn 2 Bitter Blossom on the draw for Modern is just a little too slow. This is essentially a 6-card hand, and 2 of the 6 are uncastable. Like, I can interact with the opponent and then drop a Bitter Blossom, but if I don't top deck at least 2 more lands, I can't go anywhere, so... Oh, that's disgusting. Okay, well, this is a little bit more of what I wanted. We get to Utopia Sprawl in black, we'll get an Overgrown Tomb, so this is going to be an extra Forest and an extra Lily. And looks like it's Storm again. Oh yeah, like, I like to take away the highlights and do something fun, and we definitely did that. So I'm happy with the league. We did our stupid thing. Okay, floating mana. Thought Scour targeting me. Is it Mill? I don't know what to make of this. Okay, looking to get archive trapped. Oh no, I'm getting stifled. I assume. Okay. Yep, looks like Mill. All right. I guess we will see if opponent has another Shadow of Doubt. Liliana's going to be too slow here, so I'm going to have to lead on Courser. Show me Shadow of Doubt. Nope. Okay. Getting Overgrown Tomb, life total shouldn't matter, and Courser. Just that I have a real clock. We have another Kitchen Finks coming. That's not ideal. But opponent gets to mill us now. So we got black in case they have a crab. Okay. Snapcaster Mage for Thought Scour. This is a weird build of mill. Kill the Snapcaster just so that they don't have a creature. I haven't seen a crab yet, so I assume we're fairly safe in that. They didn't have the archive trap, so likely running that out here. Plussing is actually going to actively save our life total here. I think the Kitchen Finks is probably too slow to do something good. Yep, Drown and Lock. Okay. Then I'm going to search on their upkeep, so if they Shadow of Doubt, they have to do it during their turn. And this doesn't give them an additional opportunity to draw Archive Trap. Wait, Archive Trap is if they search this turn. Yeah, that's slightly a mistake. They could draw Archive Trap and 13 me for free. They can force it, though, so that doesn't feel overly relevant. Cryptic Command. This might be slow mill. Or maybe just blue-black control. Drown and Lodge could be the payoff for... Yeah, this looks like it's just a value blue-black deck. Okay, so that was a misread on my part. All right, well, we're on top decks. K-Command. So they have an answer for Lily. Interesting that they wouldn't just go for K-Command to do it in my draw step, but you do you, opponent. Yay! Go Arbor Elf! To be fair, they have used a lot of burn already. He might actually stick around, and he might enable my 6-mana Planeswalkers. They targeted themselves. This looks like another Tassiger. Yep, hi Tassiger. They have some really good value cards there, but we drew the Deathcloud. They have Cryptic Command up, but I'm okay to call this game if they've got it. I should have done it for 2 for my lands. Oh well. Clear the board! Given this pause, I assume they don't have counter magic. Yeah, it might be hard to recover because I didn't leave my Utopia Sprawl land. Either way, that's adorable. All right. Okay. And we also put our life total to 13, so I'm happy. All right, well, opponent just needs to find a threat here. Wow. That's not a land. There's a Snapcaster Mage with the Lightning Bolt. We're on a 5-turn clock. And opponent has Cryptic Mana, so I think we're done here. Let's just see her draw. I mean, yeah, we don't have any game here. We're fine. We officially Deathclouded ourselves out of that, but we are already pretty far behind. So, Surgical Extraction, no, they're actually just value. Liliana Last Hope for sure, though. Scoos for sure. Veil of Summer for sure. Then they're going to have negate level thing, so at least 7 mana. I still want to cast you, Cursed Huntsman. That's all I'm really looking for. Damnation gets bad. Fatal Push is good. I'm not a huge fan of the Dismember plan. Just because... this kills Tasker. Never mind. That's a necessary evil. But then we're just back to our 2-for-1s. They are playing Bolt Snap Bolt, so the Finks is just a little bit of life gain. Seems fine. Yeah, push for Snapcaster doesn't really feel that relevant. Liliana to get discard out of their hands. Garrick seems like it's fairly weak. Multani Acid Moss also feels kind of weak. Yeah, let's just do that. It's not like people run as Well, what's the trim then? Pulse is kind of meh. Pulse. I have to kill Tasker some way. They ran at least 2 of them. Okay, let's do this then. Pulse doesn't really... I guess this answer is a Planeswalker. This is just a random assortment of removal, though. Like, this is fine. I'm just expecting them to have Force of Negation and Negates and Cryptic Commands, and spending 4 mana for a card that doesn't necessarily impact the board state if we go long just doesn't feel very good. Where, like, an early Garrett could easily just win us a game with a Deathcloud on 3. Liliana can answer the Snapcaster Mage, but it can't really do anything about the Tasker. It could rebuy some of our value creatures. It also is just a Planeswalker in case we clear the board. Yeah, we do, but Deathcloud is our namesake. If I sort by converted mana cost again, I'm playing this just to cast this guy, so I'm not cutting it or cutting our namesake, which puts me on our 4 drops, which they're all non-creatures. It's this column. Okay, this is a much better hand. This is actually the turn 3 Deathcloud hand. But opponent has bolts and things, so I'm not expecting it to go amazingly well. All right. Oh boy, this actually is not what I wanted. I only have one green or black source, so I'm going to have to Overgrown Tomb here. And I hope to top deck just a forest. I am also just expecting a bolt out of opponent because that's what you're supposed to do. And they showed us plenty. Oh, Thought Scour? No. Wrong color. Yep. He dead. Okay, that is a verdant. So we get to just basic forest, Utopia Sprawl on forest. We're going to do that for black, and then we're set up for Garruk into Liliana next turn. And then we can Deathcloud away all the lands and be perfectly fine. This looks like it's Drown in whatever it's called. I need to pull that up. Drown in Lock. I don't know the exact name. So CMC equals 2. Cell Drain. Drown in the Lock. Okay, so counter target spell less than or equal to the number of cards in its controller's graveyard. We have 3. So I can get away with Garruk, but it's going to get the Liliana countered. And that's there for YouTube. We're going to untap these 2 guys. And we are going to try to Lily. I think I actually want a Last Hope here. I think it's less relevant that Last Hope sticks around. So if they want to drown her, they can drown her. Yep. You got it. Then Deathcloud for 2 seems like a pretty solid play next turn. Hero's Downfall. All right. Then I guess we're just on Lily, and I'm going to discard the Deathcloud. No, opponent's got 4 cards in hand. Let's discard Skews. K-Command's going to blow me out here, but there's only so much I can play around. Hero's Downfall is a spicy edition, though. I figured they'd be running the new adventure creature with the same effect. That is an Assassin's Trophy, so I can't even Deathcloud yet. That's amazing. Opponent's 3 cards in hand are making me a little uneasy. I think I'm just getting rid of Deathcloud and trying to stay ahead with my Lily. I can technically Field of Ruin and get my additional black source, but when I actually have a firm answer in hand, opponent can't Cryptic yet. Draw 4 cards. I don't think I can beat that. I mean, that's a 4-mana draw 4. Okay. My Lily's looking a little sad at the moment. Little sad Lily. I assume if they're going to try to drop a bomb, they're going to slow roll it. So they have 3 red available, 2 black. This isn't going to fix their Cryptic Command mana, so just going to go for it. Their deck seems insanely greedy. I need the black in case we top deck a whatever it's called, Deathcloud. All right. Maelstrom's Pulse is sorcery speed, and we're taxing their non-basics, so gonna hopefully use Assassin's Trophy to protect Lily, although if this is a Snapcaster, there's at least a lightning bolt pointed at her. Yeah, we need to keep Deathcloud as an option. Yep. I do not want to have to Assassin's Trophy a Snapcaster Mage, but I think it's going to happen. Yep, I only have a Lily, so I have to protect her. I assume this means that we're in like the losers bracket for the league, because I can't imagine Into the Story, Hero's Downfall, Drown in the Loch being a solid plan versus any deck that's not nearly as slow as ours. It might be fine versus Jund, but it would get steamrolled by anything linear. Looks like opponent's contemplating the Cryptic Command here. It's had several 5-0s? Really? Alright, well. Yeah, I'm done. We're not beating this. We're so far behind. I may need to look into that one then, because I've been trying to keep an eye on the modern 5-0s that get posted, but I haven't seen that one. I mean, draw 4 cards for 4 seems fairly strong, but when you actually need to be milling your opponent that much, it feels like you're just going to die to something like the Risk. Or, sorry, you're going to die to something like Dredge or Storm or Hardened Skells or basically just about anything that can kill you on turn 3. Alright, well, last game of the match. If we can win this, we're going to make back a little bit of our entrance fee, but not with a hand like that. Not exactly with a hand like that either. Alright, we're just going to mull to 5. That's a little bit better. So, took the Damnation and the... I guess the Forest. I guess turn 2 Bitter Blossom with Fatal Push is about as good as we can hope for. It's Tron again. I actually thought we should have a fair matchup versus Tron. Thank you for those links, Serafix. I'll take a look at them after the match. Alright. Well, opponent's not going to do anything worth Fatal Pushing, so Arbor Elf needs to get in. Your turn 1 dorks do have to actually start applying pressure against Tron, especially when they just have turn 3 Tron. That is about as good as it's going to get, so... They played power plant first in the expedition map. I'm actually going to go for the power plant this time around. For some reason, I'm just getting the vibe that they'd have an additional power plant over anything else. But more importantly, this is just a stone rain. Overgrown Tomb tapped. Then I'm going to set a stop on my upkeep so that I can crack. I actually don't care. It would be correct to crack the Windswept Heath, but I can cast just about everything with my current mana except for 7 mana, and that's because I don't have 7 mana. Lame, they did have the power plant. Oh no, they tutored it. Alright, well that's kind of a clock. We'll get in for 2. Green, green. 1. Kitchen Finks. And sadly, we did actually mana fix our opponent for a Dismember, but I can only do so much about that. Is this Sylvan Scrying to go get Tron? Or an Ancient Stirring / Once Upon a Time? Ancient Stirrings. Come on, don't be Demonic Tutor. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, well, it wasn't a snap keep, so it looks like opponent's trying to figure out what threat's more valuable at the moment. Either that or they found a Walking Ballista and a bomb, and they're trying to figure out if the Walking Ballista is worth it for Arbor Elf. Nope, they just found Ugin. No big deal. Wow, they had the Sylvan Scrying too? Alright, that means Ugin's coming down next turn unless I top deck Land Destruction, so I'm going to thin here. It's not very statistically relevant, but it is going to give me about a 2% chance of drawing something better for each copy of the card, so... Alright, that's Garrick. So... Opponent comes in, they -3. I Fatal Push my Kitchen Finks, untapping Garrick. Garrick now, they -4 Ugin. That doesn't really help me at all, so let's send some beats in. And here comes Ugin. Oh, I can't actually trigger Revolt here. So, yep. I was going to Fatal Push the Fink so the Persist would come back and I'd still have a creature on table, but now opponent's going to have to make the decision to either... I guess they can just plus Garrick and then take a hit for 3. Oh, my lands are black! Well, don't have a lot going on versus the fully troned up opponent. They're going to plus shoot down Garrick and then take beats for 3 and then plus kill the beast. Or just Karn and, yeah, I'm not even going to figure out what's going on there. I can't answer the Planeswalkers. Our entire game plan is getting a Planeswalker out and just sticking it. So, Nature's Claim can stop Oblivion Stone. Collector Oof stops their cantrips. Need all of the mana clears. So Damnation is bad. It doesn't really pick up anything. Fatal Push only grabs half of a Wormcoil Engine. Dismember is a small consideration here. I think I'd rather just have Pulse and kind of just hope the rest goes far enough. Yeah, it looks like our deck. Illness in the Ranks isn't necessarily good enough here. This is in here for Urza. Kaleidos is just a okay card. It doesn't stop Wormcoil's trigger, but I mean, we're just going to lose if they get to exiling. Valve Summer doesn't really stop anything in their deck, so we can just run like this and hope to destroy some lands. Assassin's Trophy is technically an answer, but just looking for ramp. This is better. In fact, this is Deathcloud post Lily, so this... I think this might be one turn too slow to just completely stop everything if we run out Lily, but it's a start. Let's tuck the... I guess the Assassin's Trophy. We'll have Field of Ruin ready whenever that day comes. Opponent is more likely to have Ghost Quarter than Field of Ruin, so gonna Overgrown Tomb here. This is a play I've made more than I'd like, is go get Overgrown Tomb with a Utopia Sprawl in hand and no basic forest. That does feel like a weakness of the deck, which is why we have Urborg, but we can only get so far with that. Okay, this leaves me with 2 mana and a Field of Ruin. I am going to be Field of Ruining. I just want to see if they have another Tron land. Then this sets up Lily, discard the extra Lily, and then hopefully Deathcloud clear all of their permanents and just have a Lily in hand. Okay, that forest seems like a weird play. It seems like they're sandbagging a Tron land they don't have a duplicate of. But this is what we're doing. Take that, Urza's mine. Then we're just going to get ourselves a swamp. Ooh. That's nice. We can Lily. Plus discard the excess Lily, and then hopefully draw something that can help back this up a little bit better than just having a Lily of the Vel. It's not like Lily's bad, it's just she's not going to win the game by herself. Opponent will slowly start making land drops, and then they will slam something big. Almost expecting... Oh, they didn't go get a Ghost Quarter. They did have the redundant mine, and they didn't want to show it to me yet. That's the read I was getting earlier. 2 expedition maps. I'm trying to figure out if Deathcloud is worth it yet. I think I want them to run out at least one more Tron land, which means I'm going to be plussing Lily here, and I'm going to have to pitch the Urborg. Alternatively, I can only Deathcloud for 1 if they find an answer to my Arbor Elf. Alright, let's just do this for 2. That way I get to keep my massively OP Overgrown Tomb. Opponent's going to have to discard 2 cards. I should have done that before. They gotta go get a land so they can keep 2 good cards. Lily will plus, they only get to keep 1 good card. Now, if they want to keep their card in hand, it was a Karn, so they don't. They go get a Tron land, then they'll have Tron active. I don't know, maybe that was a mistake. They're going to be able to play with the expedition maps, and I did want to hold. Lily should be able to ultimate, as long as they don't top deck an actual bomb. And they had the card. All right. So we need to fade for one turn if I want to keep Lily around, and I think I do. Because they only run a limited number of bombs. I'm so far off of that. I am going to try to fade for a turn. I'd like to keep my Lily. This is greedy if they top deck a card and I deserve to lose. Alright, let's take a look at this. Last card that they tutored was Urza's Power Plant. So they have 2 mines out and 1 power plant. So mine's going to be the harder one to get. So I want to give them 2 of those. And then Tower is the more valuable card. So we'll do it like that. They'll keep these 2. Honestly, not overly scientific, but we have some fairies coming in, and we're going to be generating a lot of them, so they're under a fairly quick clock, and only Ugin should be able to clear the board that heavily of them. Alright, stars are cantrip. I never got to cast new Garrick. Ancient Stirrings is basically tutor target land at this point. Any bomb just going to get discarded to Lily. They found the tower. Ah, shenanigans. Alright, land destruction. That's not Acid Moss. Because I can't cast it. Frick. Alright, I don't believe they have a bomb in hand. I don't really have a lot to base that off of, but I need to top deck a land here for the Acid Moss, so... Okay, no bomb. Land, land, land! That's actually kind of okay. That turns off a lot of draws for them. Still would prefer the land, though. I am open to just about anything but an Ulamog, which I really hope that's not the card in hand. This looks like a Walking Ballista, or just Ugin, because life isn't fair. Alright, and then that's the game. I'll take a look at, actually, looking at the top deck doesn't matter at all. Your board clear is significantly better than mine, Tron. Well, that's sad. We go to 1-4. We don't cash out anything. Deathcloud is a meme-ish deck. I'm going to say meme-ish because it has put up results, but it's one of those like tier 5-ish decks that you just rarely see. A lot of people are aware of it, but if you want to play land destruction, you go Ponza. If you want to play green-black value, you go Junder Golgari. I saw a lot of weaknesses with the deck strategy tonight. We had so many awkward hands with some expensive cards in it. Never got to cast new Garrick. Old Garrick... Actually, I didn't cast him either. And he was in a lot of opening hands. The payoff, I think, would probably be better as like a Walking Ballista. It's kind of weird having things like Kitchen Finks in your deck with the intent to sacrifice them and just have a 2-1 that's going to go the distance. If you want to play a style of deck like this, I'd actually highly recommend Pox. Pox also got Nether Spite. We played it not too long ago, and it performed really well. Trying to get a lot of mana for Deathcloud just adds more setup to that, and when not everybody has a lot of mana, it's Pox just does about as much as Deathcloud would. Liliana was not a very strong planeswalker for closing out the game, but she is required for the resource attrition game plan, so I think there's just a little bit too much going on here. I was kind of excited to play this deck, but it just didn't really do what I wanted it to do. And there are some really strict mana concerns and really awkward hands. So not sure if I'd recommend this long term, but it does exist. It is a thing that's out there. Acidic Slime is also another card that sees play in this archetype, but you can't cast on turn 2 with the Arbor Elf Utopia Scrawl plan. Don't really have a lot to contribute here, though. Veil of Summer should have done pretty well, but we got ground out by the Into the Storybook deck because we were just doing something fair that wasn't necessarily attrition-y. I am assuming that we're not going to do very well versus the Soul Herder deck, and we should have been pretty well against Tron, but it was just too hard to get set up for it. So I think that's all I can really mention on this deck. Anyways, I am thirteene. I do a bunch of fun decks for Squirrel Dealer. There's a bunch of content up on YouTube. You can feel free to go through the archives. We've done a bunch of fun stuff, fringe decks, and other things. My schedule's over there on the left. I actually need to get this paint updated. I have trimmed Mondays from my list. Brad One plays on Tuesdays and Thursdays, more competitive decks though. If you have something cool for us, feel free to send it. Otherwise, thanks for sticking around, guys, and I will be back on Wednesday. Have a good one, everyone. Seraphix, thanks for those links.